One of the earliest tests to our evolving democracy came in 1796 with the first contested presidential election. George Washington had declined to serve a third term, and now the world anxiously watched to see if a peaceful transition of power was possible in our young country. That election was as contentious and heatedly debated as any in recent history. But when the votes were counted, a new president, John Adams, became the new commander-in-chief. Since then, the election day scene has played out many times, and two factors make this process possible. One, an engaged public that believes the process is fair, and two, the presence of poll workers and election officials to provide oversight and give the process legitimacy. That's, of course, where you come in. As a poll worker, it's vital that you understand your role in serving as an election official. You'll be provided adequate training so you understand your technical responsibilities, and you'll receive guidance on interpersonal dealings with the public, which is often the more challenging part of the job. Our focus today, however, is on how to interact with a particular segment of the voting population, those individuals with disabilities.
Hi, my name is Jennifer, and I'll be your guide as we cover some very important information. Every citizen is entitled to vote, and as facilitators of that process, poll workers need to make the system equally accessible. This requires the polling place to be fully accessible by ensuring that proper parking is designated for voters with disabilities, that signage directs voters to the entrance or entrances of the facilities, including a separate accessible entrance if necessary, and that the room where the poll is located is accommodating. People sometimes feel uncomfortable communicating with voters with disabilities. No one means to be rude or demeaning. However, that's precisely how our actions can be interpreted when we unknowingly engage in inappropriate behaviors. Here are some things to keep in mind when engaging with voters with disabilities. Never make assumptions or decisions about what a person can or cannot do. Not all disabilities are visible or otherwise apparent. Be aware of chemical sensitivities. Some people are allergic or sensitive to strong odors or have respiratory difficulties such as asthma or emphysema. Fumes from cleaning products, air fresheners, or perfume can trigger a severe reaction. It's a good practice to avoid wearing perfume or cologne when working the polls. Speak directly to a person with a disability and not to their companion or interpreter. Respond graciously to a request for accommodation when you're asked. Don't hesitate to ask questions regarding how you can best assist the voter. Questions like, do you need assistance, or how can I best assist you? Identify yourself when approaching someone who is visually impaired. Use your normal tone of voice and don't obscure your face. It's possible someone who is deaf or hearing impaired is reading your lips. If an individual needs you to speak up, they'll let you know. Engage in active listening. Fully concentrating on what's being said lets the speaker know you sincerely want to understand his or her situation and how you can best accommodate their needs. Give each individual time to explain their unique situation. Don't jump in during a pause and make an assumption about what they want or need. Make eye contact and smile. If you have trouble understanding someone, ask them politely to repeat themselves. Always ask before you help. If you offer assistance, wait until the offer is accepted. Helpful questions like, how may I help you? Would you like me to escort you to your booth? Or, are you familiar with the voting equipment? This is very important. Many individuals with disabilities take great pride in being able to do things for themselves and may be offended by your presumption that they require assistance. There will be others, however, who will welcome your offer to help. Never assume what a person can or cannot do. When planning the layout of the room, remember to keep paths of travel clear, free of tripping hazards, and wide enough to accommodate wheelchairs. Sometimes individuals will have difficulty concentrating. Loud noises like traffic sounds coming through an open window or a door can be very distracting to these voters, so it's good to minimize noise and visual distraction as much as possible. Poll workers have the responsibility to ensure decorum and a respectful environment. Remind yourself to relax and strive for a calm demeanor. If you're uncomfortable, the voter will be too. Never be afraid to acknowledge your personal inexperience. Everyone appreciates honesty. It really just comes down to this. Just treat everyone equally and with respect, and remember the golden rule: treat others as you would wish to be treated. Everyone should feel welcomed at a polling place and given equal opportunity to cast their vote. Individuals with disabilities are no different, and the election office has provided specially adapted equipment to meet their needs. The Help America Vote Act, or HAVA, requires that voting equipment accessible to individuals with disabilities must be operational at each polling place on Election Day, and failure to comply is considered discriminatory toward those individuals with disabilities. Prepare yourself now to make your neighbors feel welcomed. Always set up the accessible voting equipment provided to your polling place. Just because you've never seen anyone use it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be set up. If you have any questions about the equipment you receive, be sure to ask your county elections official. Remember, as a poll worker, it is your responsibility to understand the voting options and accommodations before they're needed. Every polling place should provide these voting options. Accessible voting devices for those voters who have trouble using a pen or with visual impairments. The following features may be used as needed: audio component, high contrast screens, large fonts on screens, and language options. Wheelchair accessible voting booths. These booths can be used by individuals who would like to sit when casting their ballots. Magnifying sheets are also available to make reading paper ballots easier. Booths may be equipped with additional lighting to make seeing easier, and pen cushions may be available to make it easier to hold a pen. Voters may bring a person of their choosing into the polling place to assist them in casting their ballot. Another option would be curbside voting. Poll workers may assist voters in casting their ballot through bipartisan assistance teams, if the voter requests assistance. When assisting a voter in casting their ballot, do so quietly to ensure the voter's privacy. Let's quickly review the do's and don'ts of addressing and assisting voters with disabilities. Voters with disabilities usually like to vote as independently as possible. Don't make assumptions about what a person can or cannot do. Speak directly to the individual rather than addressing your comments to a companion or interpreter accompanying a voter.
Hi there.
Hello.
I'm Diane. Are you going to need any assistance voting today?
I'll just need a place that's a little bit lower that I could reach.
Okay, there's some lower tables and booths straight ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
If an individual needs you to speak up, he or she will let you know. Make your face visible when speaking.
Hi, I'm Diane. Are you familiar with the paper ballots and where you complete the arrows here?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Could you please repeat that?
Oh, sure. I'm Diane. Are you familiar with the paper ballots and how those work?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Well, just be sure and do the backside too.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Identify yourself when approaching someone who is visually impaired. Remember to ask if a voter would like assistance and wait for their reply. Do not attempt to provide physical assistance if not offered and accepted.
Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. You're such a handsome dog. Yes, you are. What's your name? What's your name?
Her name's Kukla, and
Hi, Kukla. You're so cute.
I'm sorry, but would you mind not petting her because she's working right now?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello, sir. My name is Carlos. I'm your poll worker for today. Would you please take one step forward? Now I'm accessing your voter card. Here you go. Would you like any assistance?
Yes, thank you. Could I get your left arm, please?
Yes, you may.
Strive to eliminate tripping hazards, noise, and visual distraction when planning the layout of the room. Be sure traffic lanes are wide enough to navigate in a wheelchair. Refer to the guidelines provided to you by your election office for specific information. If you need to assist a voter by reading the ballot, do it quietly to ensure the voter's privacy. Always set up the accessible voting equipment and understand how it functions and whom it may benefit. Always make sure entrances have proper signage and designated accessible parking. Do all these things with a smile, good eye contact, and active listening. Simply treat each and every voter as you would wish to be treated.
Voting is more than just our right as citizens. Voting is also a shared experience, which unites us all as Americans. Election Day is a time when neighbors come together and everyone's voice is heard. On behalf of the Arizona Secretary of State's office, thank you for your time, your dedication to the democratic process, and especially for treating each and every Arizona voter with respect and kindness.